Hello, hello, you beautiful soul. Welcome again. But this time, not to the Glow and Grow podcast. This time, we are here at the Unapologetic You. The Unapologetic You was a name that I already came up with a while ago that felt so natural to me because I have really started being the Unapologetic Kiana. And yes, I'm also still your host, Kiana van Deurse here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My voice is still a little bit raspy, but I'm also somehow getting used to it, and I also somehow kind of like it. But yeah, welcome to my new podcast. The Glow and Grow podcast is the name of the past. The Unapologetic You is the name that you're going to be finding all over my platforms. You'll be finding the Unapologetic You on YouTube, here on Spotify. You will find it on Instagram, on Facebook. There will be a safe space created all across social media platforms to make sure that we are doing exactly what we want to be doing, and that is creating this little revolution. So, the very first episode, basically the second episode of season two, but also the very first episode of The Unapologetic You, is going to be super intimate. It's about my own story, actually. It's the first part of my own story. The moment that the curtain pulled back, basically. It's going to be a liberation letter that I wrote for myself, that I wrote for my newsletter guests, and that I'm going to be speaking about here on this podcast. And I'm actually, to be honest, a little bit nervous about it because I have never been as vulnerable as I am in these, well, newsletter letters, the liberation letters, as I like to call them, because they really liberated me. It's actually super interesting because there are going to be four liberation letters, like my story 1.1, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and then the manifesto. But why don't you just sit down and relax a little? Because I am going to be talking right now about my very first liberation letter, the moment the curtain pulled back. And this kind of might be the letter that you did not know that you needed, but you also kind of did. So, welcome, love. Welcome to my first liberation letter. The place you did not really know you needed, but something inside you already recognized it. It's a place where desire gets to breathe and where honesty just stops tiptoeing and walking on eggshells. It's a place where we speak the truth most people only whisper to themselves in the dark. And this is where the untamed parts of you finally get the microphone. And since I don't want you to start, I'll go ahead and, give you mine. I'll give you some access to my untamed parts, as this is basically the first part of my story, how I became the Kiana that I am today. So yeah, the first crack in the fantasy. For years, I lived in a relationship that was very good, very good. The kind of good everyone tells you to be grateful for. Sex was great, was hungry, connected, alive. Our relationship was really strong, supportive, and loving. Nothing was really wrong, except for something was. I just didn't have the language yet for it at the time. What I felt, I wouldn't describe as dissatisfaction, but more as incompletion. There was this quiet ache in my body. It was a subtle invisibility. A part of me was living behind a closed door no one else could really see, and only I could feel. I felt unseen, not because my partner didn't see me, but because I did not feel myself yet. So, how do I really expect somebody else to see me if I have no clue what there is to be seen? Well, then the hunt inside my body. The truth was really simple and complicated at the same time. I wasn't living at the sexual comfort level that my body and that my soul were built for. So, let's say some people coast at a 4 and some burn at a 6. But for my body, my eros, and my truth, I was either like a 9 or a 10, living at a 6. And I was convincing myself that 6 was more than enough, except for the fact that it wasn't. So, what I mean with sexual comfort level at this is just that some people live at different intensities of their sexual comfort levels. Some live below their sexual comfort level, meaning that they're naturally a 6 or a 7, but they live at a 3, or some do live above that because they want to fulfill the expectations of their partner. So yeah, as I said, I was a 9 or a 10 living at a 6, and I thought it was enough, but it really wasn't. My desire lived in the shadows, a tingling, restless, intoxicating curiosity, to be fair, but not directed at anyone else, just directed at more. I wanted to experience more, but I didn't know what I wanted to explore. The only thing I knew is that I wanted to explore something. I felt a hunt inside of me, and the feeling was always there. I was always turned on by life, I was always electric. I would even maybe describe it as a little bit nervous. Not wrong, no, just unspoken. I had fantasies I never said out loud. And not because my partner would judge me, but because I did not really understand them myself yet. So the truth I couldn't say out loud was that at the time, my deepest desire, the one I buried under the good girl conditioning and cultural expectations, was pretty simple. I wanted to be emotionally with one partner and physically free with others. And not because I lacked love, not at all. And also not because I was bored, but because I felt a real difference between love and lust, and between connection and desire, but also between safety and freedom. So I thought that at the time, if I said that out loud, I would shatter my relationship. I thought I would absolutely break my ex partner's heart, but yeah, I just didn't really know what to do or how to do it because I didn't find the language for it yet. I personally thought that he wouldn't want me anymore, but the truth was that, well, I was really terrified because I didn't know how to hold that truth because it's just not something that, we're used to. I didn't know how to articulate it or how to even admit it to myself. And honestly, like, how can you expect someone to understand a desire that you are still learning the name to? So yeah, here's the part that then no one tells you. Sometimes the thing that breaks your relationship is also the same thing that sets you free. Because when the container couldn't hold the truth anymore and I couldn't hold my truth anymore, a deeper truth rose to the surface. Because the moment that my relationship could not hold my desire, I also realized that neither could the woman that I used to be. And that moment, I swear, like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now, speaking here into this microphone to you at this moment. I felt an ache, I felt a hunger, a confusion. But that confusion was really the beginning of everything I'm doing now. It was the beginning of my untaming, the beginning of my sexual honesty. And it was also the beginning of the woman writing this letter to you. That is what is so crazy. That is what is so, so, so crazy because every end has a new beginning. And that is something I actually realized, like for real, for the first time. Well, in the next liberation letter, I will take you to the moment that my relationship fell apart and why that ending was the doorway to the most important beginning of my life. The part basically where I chose me, the part where I decided to absolutely go my way. So, yeah, part two drops soon. Feel free to give me your thoughts on this. Tell me whatever you want to. Let me know in the comments via DM, via the response to my email. Let me know what you think because this place, the liberation letters, will always be our safe space. I want to create a space where we can honestly communicate about what we feel, about what we think, about what we desire. Because the closer you get to your sexual comfort level, the more your life will overflow with this intensity and the more that you will enjoy it. So, yeah, thank you for being here, beautiful soul. Thank you for listening to my first liberation letter, this very vulnerable moment on the very first episode of The Unapologetic You. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And I hope that you will be there again soon.